This wraps up another year here at the Warrior Woodshop. What a year. Let's let the kids tell you about it. What a year here at the Warrior Woodshop. We've got about 100 or so kids in the Warrior Woodshop. 24 of them qualified for the state competition. They got their projects done despite all the COVID and quarantines and hybrid scheduling. They made it through districts and qualified for the state competition. As their instructor, I couldn't be any more proud. 5 of them won their division. That's what's awesome. 4 more became runner-up. 3 of them, it was their second or multiple trip. Half of them finished in the top 5. The other half, with a couple exceptions, finished in the top 10 in each one of their divisions. So again, as their instructor, I couldn't be any more proud. I want to brag over and over and over on what they did, but what better way to talk about the projects is to hear it from the students themselves. 24 students, it's not going to be a quick video. So grab your snack, grab your cup of coffee, hit pause for a second, and just hear their stories. Hopefully it'll inspire you to get out there into the workshop and make some sawdust.
My project was a dining table and originally supposed to have folding leaves because I wanted to go nuts and wanted to give Broadway a hard time. And I just wanted to I made really small projects my first year, and I wanted to make something bigger and go big or go home. I changed the feet, like not completely, but I rounded over the edges so that they didn't look as sharp. They got touched up with paint. I believe the pedestal did too. But other than that, I don't think anything changed. I scored, I believe, a 94. And at first I didn't think it was still a good score, but compared to some of the other projects that some didn't function but got higher scores, I lost points for finish, which I'm not really sure why, because I had everything. I had a knot, but I wanted it, so. But overall I was happy with it, especially for first time going to state, but I could have done better. The best part was being able to see it all come together and have moments where we tried to experiment and tried to do different things and it worked out, and it was like an aha moment and a why didn't we do this sooner. The worst part was we redesigned everything. So we had to change all the measurements, we had to figure out how to lay out what would have been the leaves but didn't end up happening, but that was still time. And just the biggest thing was trying to change everything and make it work. Do it, hope for the best, do your best, just don't panic and go for it. It was a great trip, it was a great competition, it taught me a lot, and just if you can, do it.
I made 2 nightstands. They're cherry and maple. It's a 2-tone. The main frame is cherry. The top, the drawer fronts, and the bottom side trims are maple. I made them for my aunt and uncle because they helped me through a lot, but when I heard I was going to be able to go to state, I was excited. When I first walked in at the state competitions and I seen all the projects, I was amazed because there's this one entertainment center that was really cool, and I was like, this is way out of my league. Best part was at the beginning where everything was easy just to cut, and then at the end, it was just a pain putting the drawers in, trying to center everything up. Oh, definite. You should enter your project if you ever think about going. It's an experience that you may think what it's going to be like, but then it's a whole different thing and it's way better than what you think.
I built an oak end table with a bottom shelf. It's about 18 by 24 inches. Well, after my grandfather's funeral, my mom needed a table to put like the flowers on, so I made it for her for Mother's Day. When I saw my name on the list for qualifying for state, I was surprised that it was like the 9th one on there. I thought it was going to be lower, but you know, I was excited. The first thing I said was like, ooh, I brought my table to the wrong party, because it was a lot of fancy stuff there. I scored a 97, and I was shocked because when I read it, the handwriting was messed up, and I thought it was 57, but so I was excited about that. I lost points on neatness, and that's because probably the putty was all over the place. The best part, I think, is just the instruction, because it's something I never learned before. So the hardest part, I think, was when you're just missing a day, you kind of have to catch up on your own.
Did you think you'd get a 97 at state when we entered that thing?
Oh, no, sir, I did not think it was going to be 97. Because you never know, like, what you're capable of. So just try, it never hurts. I had a good time, so.
I built a nightstand with a white painted bottom and a walnut top. I built that project because I started a vanity and didn't have enough time to finish it because of COVID and all of that, so I went on to a smaller project to finish it in time for state. When my project was entered for districts, it only had one layer of paint on it, and it didn't look very good. There was brush hairs all stuck in it. It just didn't look very good. It was very patchy, so over the 1 week we had extra before state, I repainted it and repainted it and repainted it. My first thought was, I'm going to lose. Very badly. Because all of the projects were very complex. Mine was just like a very simple side table, just kind of thrown together last minute because I didn't have time to finish my vanity. So I didn't really have much hope because I was in the advanced division. With all these other advanced, like really cool projects, I didn't think I was going to win. I scored a 95 at state. The worst part was definitely like doing it last minute. I felt very rushed, and so everything was a little bit rough, especially because I was rushing really badly to get it done in time. I would tell them to go. It's a lot of fun and it's a really good experience, especially hanging out with like it brings you definitely closer because you all have to like hang out, and I mean, that's a lot of fun, and seeing all the projects is really cool, like seeing what's out there that you can build, like what's possible to build. Like you may have never thought of it, but somebody else did it and it was really fun.
My project's an end grain cutting board that has a herringbone design, and it's made out of maple, cherry, and walnut. What inspired me to do this project was because I enjoy cooking and woodworking, and I wanted to like interact the two. I thought the judges were gonna think it was like really cool, and the design I did, I thought they were gonna be impressed by, and I thought it was gonna make it a bit higher. I saw a lot of really good projects there. I was surprised how many projects and the different details people used and what they built. I got a 93 on my project. I don't know how I lost points for functionality because it was a cutting board, but they took a point off for that. The best part about building my project was once I had it all sanded and then put the beeswax and mineral oil finish on it, so we could see all of the wood soak it in and get darker. The glue ups were very difficult to do. You should go to state for the experience because there's a lot of cool projects you can see, and if you make it past districts, it's a really good opportunity just to see what you can build in the future, even if you don't take another class afterward.
So my project, technically it's just a flag that has 3-door cabinets, and I'm using it to hold my knives. All my knives are kind of just thrown in a drawer, so I kind of wanted to have it where they're somewhere nice so they don't get scratched up a whole bunch. So this year was my second time going, but when I walked in I was like kind of oh no almost, because there's a lot of good projects in my area. So I got 97 on the project in total. And my reaction to the score was kind of surprised because I didn't think I would get a 97. Thought I would get like around a 95. I would have told myself to be more careful when I was burning the wood, because that's how it warped, is when I was burning it I didn't clamp it down right away. So I didn't think about that part, so it warped the wood. They should at least enter at least once so they get the experience. And then if they want to do more than once, kind of up to them, but I think they should try to, at least if they're able to make it. I guess the hardest part of building the project was trying to make sure the doors were lined up so they wouldn't like hit each other to open and close, and still had the same like length, gaps almost. The best part about building the project was, in the end, it turned out much better than I thought it would.
It's a 3-bay dartboard cabinet, so it's got the 3 doors on it, the main door for the dartboard, and then you've also got the 2 side doors, side cabinets that would be used for keeping darts and things of that nature. It started out as something, I just had a dartboard laying around and I didn't have a cabinet, and I was going to build the basic one that we had the plans for, but I decided I wanted to get a little bit more sophisticated with it and then test my woodworking skills a little bit more and see how far I could go. When I saw my name on that email, it was like, wow, like I'm seriously going, like I'm going to a state competition for my project. You know, at that point, I thought I was going to do decent. I mean, I definitely had some flaws with putty and stuff like that. Overall, I didn't think I was going to fare that well, but I had a few putty issues and a few parts not fitting as tight as I would have liked them to. So I didn't expect to score that well. When I walked into that competition hall, at first, I walked in there and I'm seeing all kinds of projects from, you know, big old headboards to small little knick-knack boxes kind of deal. And when I first saw those, I was thinking, wow, I'm going to get destroyed. Overall, I scored a 93. So the main parts that I got dinged for, the biggest thing was definitely my surface prep and my finish. That really doesn't surprise me, I'm going to be honest, because as I got into closer to the competition day, my days became crunched, and I should have spent a little more time sanding than I did. You know, I can kind of go with this score because there was some quality flaws and some things that I would have liked to go back and changed. You know, building the project, it was definitely something I looked forward to coming to during 7th hour at the end of the day. It was definitely a highlight of my odd days, but most important thing I learned through this project is it's okay to go back to the drawing board, you know, for ideas that don't work out or ideas you want to go back and refine, because this class is about going back and making improvements.
I made a dartboard cabinet with doors out of Purple Heart wood, and I made it because we recently added a game room onto our house, and it matches our pool table, and inside the house it looks pretty good, and I just wanted a dartboard cabinet. Honestly, when I found out that I qualified for state, I was kind of surprised, because going into this project I wasn't building it to go to state, I was just building it to have it. I was glad that I got to go to state. There was some pretty cool projects at state, but I felt pretty confident in the wall hanging division. There was definitely some, I think, better projects, but I still think I was one of the best wall hanging projects. Going in to look at the project scores, I was nervous, but when I saw that I got 100% on my project, I was feeling pretty good about myself, because I thought I had done really well on the test, and then come to find out that I did not end up winning state with 100% on my project. The best part about projects in woodshop in general is just being up here with all my friends and hanging out. At first I was going to do 2 solid Purple Heart doors, but then I ended up going with these panel doors because of the fact that I had cut my doors too short, but it worked out in the end, so I was happy with it.
I built a fishing pole stand. The reason why I built it is because I like fishing, and I have fishing poles sitting around in my room.
How well did you think you would do?
I really didn't know. My score was 94.
And then, so do you remember what you got?
Out of the 17 projects, I was 8th. I can't think of a cool part. I like doing all of it. Cut in all the little pole spots exactly the same. Well, also didn't help that I had to be quarantined for 4 weeks. Still got it done before it. It was real close though, but I got it done before it.
Because you're a sophomore now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what'd you build your freshman year?
That's kind of thing.
That's right, you didn't get to.
You
You did the wall shelf, right?
Yeah.
And then what were you gonna build?
The wall-mounted fishing pole rack.
You're definitely into fishing, you can tell.
I was gonna do that last year, but then all the COVID stuff hit, so.
So basically, you took last year's design
And then found a different design for it and improved that design that I found.
just getting to go. I mean, you mentioned that you actually got to go fishing on the trip. I think that's kind of cool.
I didn't get to fish. One, I didn't have my fishing license, and two, I didn't bring my fishing poles.
I made a pine wood flag. It's just an American flag, red and blue stain, stars, stripes. I picked it because I thought it'd be something fun and easy to make for a first project. What motivated me was, it was my first year in woodworking. I just wanted something fun to do. I chose to enter in state because I thought it'd be a fun experience and it was an overall fun time. When I got the email, I thought this really made it with everything else that people have made, because it was like the smallest thing out of everything to go. And when I walked into the competition room and saw all the projects, I kind of thought, like, what am I doing here? I got a 94 overall. I got deducted for, from what I can remember, was functionality. I don't agree with the functionality one since it hangs on a wall. The best part of building the project was just getting the experience and learning how to use the tools and everything. The biggest challenge and setback was definitely the bottom stripes after they warped. I would tell myself, just don't be afraid to try it and go do it.
So my project is an outdoor bench, and I built it for my family because my grandfather passed away, and he was like, I did it like Harley Davidson theme, and he was a really big part of the like motorcycle community. So I decided to make a memorial bench for my family to like always have that with us. Well, it's a big project, so I figured I was gonna like score high enough to go to state. Not as high as I did, but I'm glad I did score as high as I did. I had to fill in like a little gap in my armrest because we noticed that it looked a little funky, so I fixed it, and I think it made it a little bit more better. Like it came more better. Love that. It like just fixed it and made it look better. Holy crap! There's a lot of people here. I got an 95, which I understand. Like I did have some boo-boos on my project, so I get it. But I'm glad that the judges like wrote on there like nice grandpa memorial bench, that they took into consideration that I did make it for my family and not just for myself. Definitely the worst part was removing the seats and putting them back on, and then removing them again, and then putting them back on again. And then probably the best part was when the CNC did my back piece. It was just cool to see it like all come together once I had that back piece done. You might not win, but you will have a fun time on the trip. I'm the last Beckmeyer, so you're welcome, Runaway.
What I built for my project was I made a rustic end table. At first I was trying to make a live edge, a rustic live edge table, but the base wasn't really working out. All the bark kept falling off that I wanted, and the tabletop was all wonky, and it just didn't work out. So then I had to think of another table that I still liked, that was still rustic and nice, so I decided to choose the rustic end table. I was very surprised at first whenever I made the state when I saw my name on that board. I didn't know what to think. I jumped for joy. I literally jumped for joy. When I walked into the room with everybody's projects, I thought I was going to do terrible compared to the stuff that I saw. But when I found out I was going to be in different divisions, some weights fell off my shoulders, thankfully. And I thought at first I was going to do bad because of the things some of the stuff that I did, but My score was a 97% out of 100, and I got deducted for surface finish because I wanted the rustic look. Basically, my surface was a bit wavy, but I liked the rustic look, but apparently the judges did not like it. So I would say the best part about building my last table was I got to see, I actually failed, but in a successful way. I got to learn how difficult it is to put something in different pieces together. It's like a puzzle, but like a 3D puzzle in a way. It's a lot harder. But this one, it was a lot simpler. I got done in time, and I really like it.
So I picked my project because I wanted something that would like challenge my woodworking like skills, but also leave me with like a nice piece of furniture at the end that I could like take with me and it would last a while. Yeah, so yeah, that Wednesday I saw the announcement on Google Classroom, and I was looking at the list and I saw that I was a runner-up, and I was like, man, I wonder what I did. And so then I came in and I asked about like what I got marked off on the district's competition, and it was nice being called up later on whenever we had some openings and stuff. My initial reaction to the room was I was pretty shocked because like I thought my table was like pretty like, I mean it's well constructed and stuff, but I mean I was seeing all these elaborate projects with these massive like amounts of wood used, and their design was just crazy, and I was shocked because not only is it just wood, there's also like metalworking stuff, and you know there's like digital design stuff, and it's just it was pretty cool. So on my project overall I scored a 90, which I don't necessarily agree with because they marked me off in surface finish, max that they could, 4 points off in surface finish, in prep, and then in neatness and accuracy. They took off 4 points in that as well. So, and then there was 2 other points taken off in the other categories. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but you know, I don't control that. The experiences I took in, and you know the knowledge I learned building it. I mean, it took me quite a while. I started it sophomore year, and then COVID sent us home, and I didn't get to finish it. And then it was nice to come back junior year and finish it up. The hardest part about that project was coming back junior year and trying to pick up where I left off, because my plans were all over the place. I couldn't find them, and I was just trying to remember whatever I could to try to get it together for state this year. My favorite memories on this for the state trip were definitely the pool and hot tub experience. That was pretty fun. All of us all together. It was that nice like bonding, you know, the road trip down there, we were just laughing and stuff. It was a great overall experience.
So I made a wall hanging cabinet that had a black American flag front. The cabinet part was black and it lifts up via struts. I was inspired by my last project, which was a red, black, and blue police flag, which I built for my dad. And I wanted something similar to that. The thing that made me want to go to state was actually my teacher, Mr. Rightaway. It sounded really fun. I love woodworking, and I wanted to see how well it would do compared to others since I'm a novice. I thought I would do pretty well. Kind of thought I might have a shot at winning. My project was kind of unique, and the fact that it opened with one giant face. When I saw the other projects in the room, I was blown away. Some of the things that students have built there are just incredible. I mean, they're beautiful too. After seeing the projects that were there, I thought I'd still do pretty good, maybe top 5. I got a 96 out of 100 on my project part. I lost points for finish and prep, surface prep. I'm happy with the score. The best part about building my project was probably the learning experience. This is my first year shop and I'm a senior in high school. I know nothing about woodworking, power tools, or anything related to working with my hands. So learning how to do all that, I enjoy it. It probably kickstarted my passion for actually doing things now. For next year's kids, I would say definitely try and go to state. It is an absolute blast. I loved it. It's probably going to be the most memorable moment of my high school career.
So my project is basically an arcade machine that plays Guitar Hero off of a Chromebook. I picked that project in general because I just haven't had a machine where I haven't had something to play Guitar Hero on, and I just felt like making it. I chose the arcade design because I just love the arcade. I mean, my impression of the competition was breathtaking because you could see all the people, all the things people made. Some people were making pretty much like wood grills, trailers, bikes. It wasn't just woodworking, it was more, it was a bunch of fabrication, welding. I think I was competing against a table that had circuit boards and epoxy in it that lit up. Other than that, I didn't really get to see much of what I was competing against. I scored a 92 out of 100. I got points taken off for accuracy and how it looked, but I got a bonus point for complexity / originality. I think if I could have started over way back when, I probably would have did a lot better. But for the first time ever going, I think I did pretty good. Demolishing my project right before state, like pretty much destroying the entire front to where I was taking some kids' advice on what I should do to make it look cooler and bit off more than I could chew. So I had to scramble to get it done and make it look better as best I possibly could. I don't really have any regrets because I got to learn a bunch of things I had to make. I got to see more people, got to learn more about new people, got to go to Margaritaville and get wasted away. So
Not really wasted away.
My project is a queen bed frame made from pine that I stained with a special walnut stain to sort of match my first year's entry into state competition. That was a walnut gun rack, so I kind of wanted to match, and I really needed a new bed for my room, so I just decided to build my own. I think I was gonna do pretty good. Like, I don't, obviously there's a bunch of other schools there, so you never really know what all you're up against, but I felt pretty confident in my ability to make furniture, and I thought my bed looks pretty cool. I know it's not, it's never gonna be perfect, but I thought, my thoughts are top 5 at least, and hopefully that's what I get. So, obviously I looked for the larger projects like mine, the stuff I'd be competing against, but there's some really cool stuff there. But it's a good experience. It's a weird feeling. It's like, wow and oh no at the same time. At state, I ended up scoring a 97 overall project score, which was, I think, the second highest for my division, as far as I know. Right now, I still don't know where I did overall. I know I didn't win my division, but hopefully, I'm hoping I got at least second, if not third, based on my test scores. I think the best part about building my project was probably whenever I was staining it, because that's when everything really started to take shape of what it ended up looking like. The worst part was at the beginning when I milled so much lumber I couldn't even tell you. It was insane because I had a couple different kinds, and it all had to be perfect, and it was a headache trying to get it all milled. But once it was together and the stain really started to shine, it started really going together in my mind. I was quite happy with it. I decided to take shop sophomore year and never looked back.
I built an aquarium stand for a 55-gallon tank because I've always been really into reptiles and stuff. I added some reptile scales on the doors just to kind of make it stand out. If you run your hands down the doors, it actually feels like scales, which is pretty cool. I felt like it was a pretty cool project, and it's something I've been working on since my sophomore year. I'm a senior now. I just wanted to get it done and over with, and I thought it'd be cool if I could make it to state and do something cool with it. So even though I did have a lot of issues, we had almost a week until state, between districts and state, to fix anything up, and in that time I was able to fix my doors so they actually closed, got some cool handles, was able to kind of get some of the stain more even, but it ended up looking kind of rustic, which worked out for me in the end. So this was my first time doing any sort of competition. We all walked into the room, and honestly my jaw hit the floor just because there were so many really, really cool projects, like insane metalworking, leatherworking, huge, complex, intricate, like woodworking projects, and it was really, really intimidating. I ended up scoring a 97, which really caught me off guard because I still had some issues I wasn't able to fix. I felt like I deserved maybe like a 92 or 93. Like, I still thought it was a good project, but I had friends who built stuff that was way cooler, had way less issues, and they scored about like a 92 or 93, which I thought was bizarre. But the best part of building my project was definitely experience, and having a lot of fun just with everything. There were definitely some bumps in the road that were really frustrating, but I got closer with a lot of people. I learned how to use tools that I probably wouldn't have been comfortable using otherwise, which was pretty cool. You walk out with friends, you walk out with just, like I said, experience that can apply anywhere in life, because you don't want to, you know, live with the what if I had entered it, you know, if you hadn't, like, you don't want to know. And the experience, it was a lot of fun. Like, honestly, like, regardless of how I placed or how I did, like, it was a lot of fun. And it was a good experience. It was a huge bonding experience with all my friends. Talk a whole lot of smack. He's definitely, Mr. Rodaway is one of my favorite teachers. I've had him all 4 years of high school. He's something that's been consistent, which is nice in a world that is not consistent at all. I ended up winning my division, which was probably a given because I was the only one in my division.
It's just a adjustable shelf cabinet. It was supposed to be a desk from last year, but I didn't finish it because of the corona, and so I just wanted to finish it this year and get it done. So I turned it into the just a small bookshelf with adjustable shelves. I started off as an alternate for state competition. Mr. Rodaway, luckily he made a phone call or whatever he did, I'm not sure, but he got me a spot at state. He knew I wanted to go, which is really nice of him. I didn't go the last 3 years, my senior year. I just really wanted to go for the experience of going to state. So yeah, I'm thankful he got me that spot. It was a cool experience seeing all the projects from all the other schools and all over the state. All of them were really impressive. So it was just cool to see all these different schools coming together and see, like, putting all these projects on display. I got 96 at state. I got 4 points off. One of them was for creativity and originality. It was just a bookshelf, so I understand why I got points off for that. But I got 96 overall, so I'm not disappointed at all. I'm fine with it. The worst part about building the project would probably be like from last year, having to just leave it alone for an entire school year and another semester the next, like this school year. So just having all that time off, forgetting where I was at, and to figuring out what I'm gonna do to continue the project. Just figuring that out was the worst part, but the best part obviously was finishing it and staining it, getting the clear coat on it. Just having it done overall is satisfying.
My project is a nightstand. I built it because for my first year I just wanted to build something small and simple, really, and didn't want to do anything complex until next year. But because of COVID hit, I wasn't able to finish it, so I decided to go out and finish it and enter the state this year. My first impression was we get some serious competition here, because some of the other projects I saw from other schools was pretty impressive. My score today was 93. For me personally, I thought it was a little too low. I felt like they could have taken off a little bit less points than they should have, but it is what it is. Probably the best part about being on a project was just being around so many really good people and just learning more people and building that project. Probably the worst part about it was all the obstacles that came in with building the project. Like with my drawers, I messed up like twice, so I had to quickly redo them twice. No, first I did I routed the wrong side, and second, I built the drawers too big, so I had to redo the drawers twice. But I pushed through it, and it got to a pretty good nightstand. My favorite part about the trip was definitely hanging out with my friends during the hotel time. We had some very awesome conversations. It's just an honor in general, just to be amongst the people. You're basically the greatest of the great in the state. But
there you go.
I built an American flag gun cabinet where I split it right below the Union, so the top flips up and the bottom stripes flip down. I wanted to build something with the American flag, and I kind of wanted to build a gun cabinet, so I put 2 and 2 together and built that. I was excited. I wanted to go to state, and I was a little nervous I wasn't going to be able to go, but I was able to go. It was my senior year, so if I wouldn't have done it, I would have regretted it. I got a 98. Whenever I walked in the room to put my project on the table, I was a little bit nervous. There's a lot of good projects out there, but I'm happy with what I got. The best part would be using the tools, doing new techniques, and just building a project that I'll be able to use on a day-to-day basis. Toughest part was building stripes that were straight. It's a cool experience to be able to go and compete and be able to hang out with your friends.
I built a computer desk because I wanted a nice desk to hold stuff. And I built drawers for put stuff in. I didn't have that before. I didn't think I was gonna make it because it wasn't finished. But then when I got 16th, I was kind of surprised, so pretty happy.
So in the week between districts and state, what did you work on?
A lot. I had to sand my drawers down. I had to sand the top. I had to stain everything, and then I had to get everything clear coated. I was like, damn, there's a lot of projects. There's a lot of money right now, especially with the wood. I got a 96. I was hoping to do better, but they took off points for finish, which I couldn't really see why, because I thought I did a pretty good job, you know. 5 layers of clear coat on top. But it's whatever. Best part was seeing everything come together in little pieces, like a puzzle. Worst part was probably that top. That was a pain. That thing was heavy. They should do it, it's fun. But it's a fun class. Especially when you get to work with saws that can cut your finger off.
My project is a 5-drawer dresser with the American flag as the drawer fronts. I chose to make this because the dresser I had before was made when I was born, so it's time for an upgrade, and I have an American flag headboard and I wanted something to accent that. I was pretty confident I was probably going to go to state, so it wasn't that big of a surprise to me, but what was a surprise is that I was the top project out of all of them. That was kind of exciting. I realized that my chances of winning kept going down and down the more projects I saw. With the mistakes that I saw in my project, I wasn't seeing in others, and it was just one of those things where, you know, I didn't think I had a chance at winning. I ended up getting a 98, which I was pretty happy with. I did a little bit better than I thought I would. I lost a few points for service prep because of a run I had, which I knew I was going to lose, and I lost a few points because of accuracy. I'm not 100% sure why. There's a couple different reasons, so I'm not surprised with the score I got. I did get an extra point for complexity, which was nice. The best part was seeing it completed, finally putting the drawers in for the last time, and just having that sense of accomplishment. The worst part was all the mistakes I made on my drawer fronts with the flag and everything. Just the friendships and having a good time at the resort, and just being there, getting to miss school and having a good time. It's fine.
My project was a thin blue line flag, and I made it because my dad is a police officer. So at districts, I knew I wasn't probably going to go, but it worked out to where enough people dropped out, and he wanted to take enough to where I could go, and last minute, so. When I walked in, I honestly thought the room would be a lot bigger and a lot more projects. So I scored a 94 overall, which is a lot better than I thought it would. I didn't really know because I haven't been before, it's my first year. So I mean, I did a lot better than I thought I would. The worst part was probably I wanted to get a new one done for district, so I mean rushing in time. And the best part was that I finished and got to go. Just seeing all the projects and stuff, seeing all the different ideas and stuff, was pretty cool. I would say just take the chance, and obviously I didn't know I was going, and then I did, and I had a really good time. Just if you want to take it, because it's a good experience and stuff. And if you have the chance to go to state, take it.
So my project was a coffee table that looked like an American flag, and then what would traditionally be red stripes were made out of steel, and that had epoxy over the surface to make it flat, with gas struts to hold up the lid so it had easy access to the internal storage. So I hadn't really intended to go to state originally. I kind of thought if I go, then whatever, because I wasn't sure how well everybody else was going to do in districts. When I found out that I actually made it through, I was mildly impressed. Kind of confused how John did better than me, but that's beside the point. When I saw the other project there, I was kind of blown away by the amount of just complexity with some of the steelworking projects, even though those
weren't in my division. And then once I'd seen some of the ones that were in my division, some of the other tables, I was kind of a little worried how I was going to stack up against them. I had gone and touched up some of the paint on the box and messed around with the gas struts, and then I sanded down the sides where some of the epoxy had kind of formed ridges on the side of the table, and then put polyurethane over it so it matched. So I ended up getting a 98 overall, and I was kind of both impressed and disappointed. Kind of impressed because I didn't think I was going to do overly well compared to the other ones, but I forgot that the scores for the projects are kind of regardless of what the other ones are. And I was kind of confused on how I didn't lose any points for surface prep and finish because the epoxy still had some bubbles and imperfections in the surface. But overall, I was very happy with my score. The best part was seeing how it turned out at the end, just because the entire time I was kind of worried, like I don't know how well it's gonna work. But once I got to the end of it and seeing the end product, it looked really good. The worst part was the epoxy because every step of the way it kind of fought back, and it made it more difficult than it really needed to be, but kind of got through it. Probably watching people duke it out in air hockey, trying to kill each other. That was entertaining. As a teacher, Broadway is interesting.
Are you awake now? Interesting. I've been called a lot of things over the years. This is a very family-oriented, comfortable place for these kids. That's the atmosphere I set in the room because that's when they learn best. When they're comfortable, they know they're cared about. So as their instructor, they're a second family. I couldn't be any more proud of them as their teacher. I'm getting to see them graduate. I've known some of the families for multiple years. So I really looked forward to working with these kids. And I can't wait to see what next year's group's going to bring us. Speaking of next year, just because it's summer vacation doesn't mean the channel's going on hiatus. We've already got some videos slated where we're going to take down a water damaged camper and turn it into a utility trailer. We're going to be updating some of our safety videos, technique videos, and try to get a couple projects filmed over the summer. We've got a new instructor joining us in the fall. So if you haven't done so and you like what you've seen on this channel, definitely subscribe, hit that bell so you get the notifications. I guess all that's left to do is go out and make some sawdust.